Welcome to Take a Break, Take a Breath for Friday, March 26th. I'm Rick Boyer, the pastor of Prospect Presbyterian Church, and Take a Break, Take a Breath is an invitation for you to pause in the day, to just sit for a few minutes and center yourself in God who made you and loves you and calls you by name. I've been sharing with you thoughts about the Gospel of Mark, and we read a few verses each day, or a section of Mark, which is broken down according to how the verses break down in logical pieces. And in this early part of Mark, it's very small, just 2 verses often, because it's the prologue, and each sentence is packed with so much and tells us such a big story. Today we're on Mark 1:12 and 13. And this is the story of Jesus' temptation in the wilderness. Mark is very different than Matthew and Luke. We're used to the story where Jesus is in the wilderness 40 days, and then Satan comes and tempts him or tests him. And the word there that is used can mean either entice to sin or to test. And in Matthew and Luke, it's enticed to sin. He's hungry. He's enticed to use his power for gain for himself. In Mark, it is much more to test. The Spirit drives him out in the wilderness, and he is tempted for 40 days. He is tested for 40 days. Jesus is the only human in the story. There's the Spirit that drives him out. There is Satan. There are the wild beasts, and there are the angels. Now, the wild beasts, everybody has different opinions about that, and some commentators today want to say, oh, the wild beasts are there and they help take care of Jesus. Others want to say that that's part of the test, that that's part of the threat against him, the struggles against him, and that the angels come to take care of him. The verses are a great reminder that often when we have moments of growth in our faith or new understanding, that following very quickly on that is some kind of test, some kind of struggle, that with our commissioning, as Jesus is commissioned, he's just been baptized, then comes the struggle. Then comes the difficulty, and that's often the case. We are all up on the mountain and high and excited, and then we crash down to the bottom. The verse I chose to focus on is the second one. He was in the wilderness 40 days, tempted by Satan, and he was with the wild beasts, and the angels waited on him. So, if you haven't already done so, go to a place that is quiet in your house. If the room has a door, shut the door, and settle into a comfortable chair. And then let the comfort of that chair permeate you and your body. Feel the support and comfort of that chair under your legs. Feel it on your back. Feel it, if it has arms, under your arms. Notice the room that you're in, and then close your eyes and take a deep breath. And when you breathe in the breath of God. And as you breathe out all that separates you from God. Breathe in the breath of life. Breathe out all that does not give you life. Breathe in God's peace. And breathe out all your worries and fears and concerns and anxieties. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Imagine that God's peace is growing in you, spreading all over your body. Imagine it like water that runs down over your head. And as it runs down over your head, the peace of God penetrates into your brain and brings relaxation so that all the things that have been bouncing around in your brain are calmed. And as it runs down over your face, it brings relaxation to your jaw and your facial muscles, and maybe you even smile. And if your jaw has been tight, it's now relaxed. As it runs down your neck, it penetrates the muscles of your neck, and the knots in your neck are untied, and the tensions are eased. And it runs down your shoulders, down your arms to the tips of your fingers, and the muscles in your shoulders are relaxed, and the muscles in your arms are renewed and refreshed. And if your hands have been closed, they're opened. Maybe even turn them palms up to receive God's grace and peace. As it runs down your back, the muscles in your back relax. All the burdens that you've been carrying in your back are melting away. As it runs down over your chest, your breathing gets deeper and more relaxed. And your heart rate slows to a resting pace. As it runs down over your stomach, all the jitters are calmed. And it runs down your legs, over your calves and your thighs and your feet. And those muscles are renewed and refreshed. In your mind's eye, think of a time when you've been going through a rough time, when you felt like you were being tested. There's lots of stories like that in the Bible, and they always involve 40s. Well, not always, but often. It's 40 years in the wilderness. Moses is up on the mountain 40 days. When Elijah flees the people that want to kill him, it's a 40-day walk to Mount Horeb, the mountain of God, which we know as Mount Sinai as well. And Jesus is tempted in the wilderness 40 days. Where are you when you go through this time of temptation and testing? What do your surroundings look like? It's often like a wilderness. It's dry and arid. It's often a lonely place where no one is around. What was the test? What were you being tested about? What was the difficulty you were going through? Imagine that the angels of God come to you in that place. And they minister to you. They bring messages from God to you and carry your messages back to God. So what messages are you hearing from the angels that brought messages from God? And what are you going to say in return? I'll be quiet now while you respond. And then the time of giving and receiving messages comes to an end. The angels bring you comfort and good food and a cool drink. You're refreshed by that. And then you say goodbye and they say goodbye. And that image fades away. And you bring yourself back to the room where you are. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Well, that's Take a Break, Take a Breath for Friday, March 26th. If you have feedback for me or you want to talk or pray, send an email to rick@prospectchurch.org.